Okay, welcome back everybody to what is week 5, but feels like week 100. Not being in school, rather be in school. Today we're going to start talking about adding and subtracting exponential. So the way we're going to do this week is we're going to have one thing that is today's assignment, which is for you to take notes on what we're covering and to do a very small delta math assignment. Second thing that we're going to be doing is for you to do kind of a review assignment. Both of these assignments are going to be due on Friday the 17th by midnight. So kind of get in here. So the lesson is adding, subtracting exponential terms. Unit 8, lesson 4. Now, when you are multiplying or dividing, you can multiply and divide anything. It doesn't matter what exponent it has, what variable it has, what number it has. Multiply and divide are completely indiscriminate. But you can only add or subtract terms that are like. And we talked about this, kind of all year. 3x plus 5 is 3x plus 5, but 5x is 8x. It's the same when we start dealing with exponents. So let's talk about what we mean by like terms as far as exponents go, meaning they have to have the same variable and the same exponent. So let's take a look at an example of some exponential terms here. Let's say we have 7x plus 3xy, and then we'll do minus 4x squared. Now, all three of these have an x, but they don't all have the same x exponent. So this is plain x, which means it's x to the first. There's a plain x, which is an x to the first here, but it also has a y. And then this has x, but it's x to the second. This middle one has a y, which is why it can't combine with the first one. So all three of these are not like terms. None of them can combine through addition or subtraction. They can multiply. They can multiply or divide all day, but they can't add or subtract because they're not the same variable to the same exponent. Let's look at an example where we could do that. So let's say that we have, let's do 15y minus xy plus 8. And for the last term, we'll do. Now in this case, the two middle terms are like terms because they both have an x and they both have a y. So these two in the middle can combine through addition or subtraction. So what that means is negative 3 xy's. We'll just consider this to be like negative 3 ligers, lion, tiger things. I don't know if anybody's been watching Tiger King. And then plus 8 xy, so plus 8 lion, tigers, is going to be positive 5 xy. And then the minus 10 can't combine with that, so it just drops down. And the 15y can't combine with that either because it has a y, but it doesn't have an x. So that also just drops down as 15. And there we go. This would be the combined version. Now, let's take a look at how this is going to show up on your assignment here. Okay. So on your assignment, it's going to show up in a few different ways. The wording of it is going to be kind of weird. So let's look at one example of the wording. So let's say that we have in two sets of parentheses. In one set of parentheses, we have 9x squared minus 8. And then we're going to be adding this to, in another set of parentheses, 9x squared plus 9x plus 3. All right, so now we want to kind of identify what the like terms are. And the other thing you want to pay attention to is whether or not there is a subtraction sign here. If there's a subtraction sign here, that means you need to flip the sign of everything inside this other set of parentheses. Now, in this case, there's no subtraction sign, so you can leave everything in the other set of parentheses the same. You don't have to change anything. Now, I want to identify what the like terms are. So my first like term is going to be 9x squared, which is alike with 9x squared. So if I combine them, 9x squared plus 9x squared is going to be 18. And if I'm just adding or subtracting, the variable doesn't change, or the exponent doesn't change. The exponent will only change when you're multiplying. So some students will want to say this is 18x to the fourth. And while I agree with the 18 part, it's like you're saying, 9 second graders plus 9 second graders doesn't make 18 fourth graders. They still stay in the second grade. So this will be 18x squared. All right, next, this negative 8 can combine with a positive 3. So negative 8 plus 3 is going to be negative 5. And now the last thing that I haven't done anything with is just going to drop down, which is this plus 9x. Now, looking at this, I don't have any like terms. I have an x and an x here. This one's an x squared, and this one's a plain x. So they cannot combine. All right? Cool. Let's take a look at how this is going to show up on the actual Delta Math assignment. Okay, I'm actually kind of glad that we got this one because this brings up a few other things that you're going to need to remember from earlier in the year. So first, hopefully everybody knows that subtract means subtract, minus. But when you see this subtract from, you have to make sure that you're paying attention to the order. So we've got two things here, and I'm going to put them both in a set of parentheses. So I'm going to do parentheses around negative 3x minus 8 and parentheses around 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. Now you need to know which one comes first because order matters with subtraction. And again, hopefully, for some of you guys, you'll get alarm bells going off in your head because of this from. So if we're subtracting this from that, that means that we're going to have this one come first. Remember that from flips the order, preposition. So that means that in front, I'm going to have 4x squared minus 7x minus 2. And then from this, I'm going to subtract negative 3x minus 8. Okay? Now, like I said before, you want to pay attention to the symbol that's between these two. In this case, it's a minus. And since it's a minus, that means you're going to need to change it to a plus, but then flip all of the signs inside the parentheses. To make this a plus, that means this is plus 3x and this is plus 8. Now I want to find my like terms. 4x squared doesn't have any like terms to go with. 4x squared just comes down as it is. Negative 7x is going to add to positive 3x to make negative 4x. And negative 2 is going to add to 8 to make positive 6. So that should be the final answer, 4x squared minus 4x plus 6. And if you forgot how to do the exponents and stuff on here, if you bring up the keyboard, well, I'll leave it there, that's fine. If you bring up the keyboard, my answer is 4x squared, so I'm going to do 4x squared minus 4x minus 4x, and then plus 6. And there we go. All right. Now, let's take a look at another example here because there's a few different ways that these can show up on your assignment. That's one. Let's look at another. Erase my doodles here really fast. All right, so new problem. So the word sum, you guys remember from way back at the beginning of the year, the word sum means to add two things together. So we're going to find the sum of these two. So I'm going to put them both in a set of parentheses. And in this case, order does not matter because it doesn't matter with plus or minus. It only matters if you're looking at subtract from. So one set of parentheses is going to get the first thing. So one set is negative 7x squared plus 8x plus 1. And then I'm adding that to, need to move. Oh, hey, come on. All right, just got it. All right, sorry about that. So first we got negative 7x squared plus 8x plus 1. And then we're going to add that to negative x squared plus 10x minus 3. Now again, we're looking for like terms here. This is a plus, so we don't need to worry about changing any signs in the second one. Now we just need to add or subtract them together. Negative 7 second graders plus another negative second grader, so negative 1 second graders, is going to make negative 8 second graders, negative 8x squared. plus 8 first graders plus 10 first graders is going to make plus 18 first graders. Plus 1 plus -3 is going to be -2. And again, these two can't combine even though they both have an x. So let's take a look and make sure that I'm teaching correctly here. Bring up the keyboard again. My final answer was -8x squared plus 18x minus 2. Okay, and there we go. So if you have trouble with this, let me know. This assignment, this short assignment, is 5 of these problems, just to make sure that you understood the notes. And then the other assignment for the week is going to be a longer assignment that incorporates this and a few other things. It's a 20 problem assignment though, so it's not that bad. You have between now, whenever you're getting this, and Friday the 17th at midnight, you get this completed. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm available through email, or I can set up a Google meeting to go through stuff with you, whatever. Just let me know. Thanks. Have a great day.